All right, welcome to the August 10th Environmental Advisory Council meeting. And as usual, first order of business is getting the old meeting minutes approved. I'm looking at last July's meeting, and Matt was there, I was there, and Jim was there. So is that enough? 3? Because Paul's not on, Linda's not on, and Kevin's not on. Let's just pass the damn thing.
Yeah, I mean, Zach's not here who understands all this stuff, so I think we should just move ahead. And I will make a motion to approve the minutes from 6/8 and 7/13.
Yeah, because we do have 3 people from the June meeting. Sumya was there, I was there, and Jim, you were there. So 3 out of the 4 were here. So anybody want to second Jim's motion?
Okay, I can second it.
Okay, all in favor? Raise your hand. Okay, we finally approved the minutes. Great. I'll send them on to Katie. Okay, number 1 is tree planting. That seems to be moving along fairly well. There are 2 RFPs out right now. One is for the fall planting of 162 trees at Memorial Park, Keola, and the Fred Allen Fields. So I estimate the proposals are due in early September. So I assume we may get involved in reviewing those when they come in. We'll see. And the other RFP out is for a new long-range tree planting plan. And those proposals are due in mid-August. So we might be hearing about those pretty soon. So
yeah, I was very glad that these both went through, because I was hearing a little rumbling about, hey, if we put all these trees in, how are we going to take care of them? And, of course, this goes back to my long-standing effort to get a couple of more maintenance people in Lower Makefield Township who are just dedicated to taking care of trees. But anyway, it looks like it's moving forward. And I guess the assumption is whatever we plant, we're certainly going to be able to take care of.
I would hope so. The trees on Mirror Lake Road are doing well.
Yeah, well, they have those gator bags.
Yeah.
And, if you fill those once a week, that system tends to work pretty good. But I agree with you. I think the ones along Mirror Lake Road are doing really superb. But we've also had a lot of rain, too.
Yeah. Somebody's filling the gator bags because they have water in them.
Yeah, well, they should be, I think they should be filled once a week. I think that's the drip out system, lasts about a week.
Yeah, I just wonder if it's a township or the company that planted them.
Good question. I don't know the answer to that, but I would think it's the township, because it would seem to me burdensome if the company that actually installed them had to come. They're not local, I don't think, if they had to come back here once a week. But we can certainly find that out the next time we talk to Majewski.
Yeah, we'll find out. All right. Anything else on trees? Move on to recycling. Still have the October 28th event scheduled. We'll start publicizing it in September. And I asked last time how many volunteers. I thought we had like 4 maybe from the EAC. And I asked my friend Steve Myers, who helped us last time, and he thought he'd be able to help. So we'll probably still take a couple of people from the Lions Club, but we'll see. We'll wait till closer to the event, and then we can decide.
Well, the last time it worked to perfection, and the main reason was we had a lot of people there.
Yeah. Yeah, 6 seems like a nice number. So we'll shoot for that. Hopefully it'll happen. But yeah, we'll hopefully get the newsletter out, publicizing it, and I'll put up some flyers around the township in September. We'll go from there. All right, LMT recycling. I assume there's nothing new with that. Who's on that? I guess Sumya.
Yep.
Anything on that? Do they kind of shut down over the summer?
Recycling. Was I supposed to do anything about that? Like, what exactly did you mean?
Well, there's a sustainability committee, which I
Oh,
thought,
the committee. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I haven't received any email at all about that. Have you
so
met?
Matt,
Nothing
are you
about
on
the
it?
No.
nothing from Pennsbury now.
Okay.
I think they just go ahead and do their stuff, and occasionally they inform us. So even though they've made these committees, they're not asking for any active input so far.
All right. Well, I may take this off the agenda then, and if something does come up, bring it up in the
Yeah.
odds and ends or open discussion.
Yeah.
If nothing's happening, take it off. All right. Anything new on the recycling guide, Matt?
Nothing new. Haven't started any efforts to update that yet.
All right. Well, like I said last time, it'd be nice if we were able to hand it out in October at our recycling event. So get it done by then. And if you need to make copies, you get reimbursed for that. 'Cause I remember I made copies. It's like the front page needed to be in color and the back page, 2 pages, needed to be in color, and the rest could be black and white. And color is what costs you to make copies of. Black and white is nothing. So
Okay.
be prepared.
Where can I go to get copies, and how many
Copies?
should I get?
Go ahead and make, I don't know, 30 copies. And go to Office Max. You know Office Max near Dick's and Home Depot, near, that little mall near the Oxford Valley Mall. It's across Oxford Valley. It's got Barnes and Noble, that area, that one. Yeah, just go into the Office Max and go into the back, and they have somebody there that handles copying, and they'll show you how you can do it yourself. It's pretty easy, actually, once you learn. But that's where I make copies. Because, yeah, you don't want to make them at work or you'll get in trouble. So just remember that.
Yep.
At least the color ones, the black and white, probably not. All right, number 4, the proposed zoning ordinance that requires 25% open space for any new residential development that comes in. It passed last Board of Supervisor meeting. So it is now an official ordinance, but I didn't know this till the meeting when they brought it up. It only applies to parcels of land 10 acres or more. So I don't know how much open space this is going to get us, because what I calculated, like, it was 380 acres of land was zoned either residential 1, R1, R2, or R3. And I don't know how much of that is in parcels greater than 10 acres, but I'm sure it's maybe half of that. I don't know. So you're getting 25% of maybe 200 acres. So 50 acres we might get from this. So it'll help, but it's not nearly as good as our idea to have an open space ballot referendum. We would have gotten a lot more open space from that if something like that passed, because it'd be 10 or 15 million dollars. I was disappointed that they didn't take that up. The only response I heard was from Fred Weiss, and you saw his responses. He wasn't real positive.
I guess if this were in force before the Torbert form, it would apply to that, correct?
It would have, yeah. but it
Yeah.
doesn't.
Well,
Yeah.
we've been pushing something like this for a long time, so this is, this doesn't surprise me. But my feeling would be, why qualify it to 10 acres? I would do it simply right across the board, period.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was, and that was slipped in at the very end. And I'm not sure why. Maybe it had to do with they didn't want little sections of open space that are really small. I mean, if you had like a 2-acre property, that'd be a half acre. I don't know, half acre of open space isn't bad, but I guess that was the thinking. It'd be too hard to keep track of or whatever.
No, I'm
So
not
I don't
sure
know.
I'm not sure I even agree with that. I think open space parcels, if they're a quarter of acre or 50 acres, all accomplish basically the same purpose. And those smaller ones, they don't really have to be maintained. You basically just let tree coverage take over, and you get 24/7, 365 benefits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, if I would have known this, I was at the meeting and I made a comment on something else. Just I wanted to verify that this will not allow additional housing units on a parcel of land. That, if you had a 10-acre parcel before this ordinance went in, and you could have put in 10 houses. Now, after this ordinance, you could still only put in 10 houses. You couldn't put in 15 or whatever.
You can see, that's where I'm a little confused. So this is essentially clustering then, correct?
Yeah, same number of houses.
See, my feeling would be, forget about it. 25% is dedicated to open space, and the remaining land, whatever the ordinance permits to be placed there, should be placed there. So in other words, if 10 acres you had 10 houses were allowed. Under the provision, if 25% is open space, then in my estimation, only 7.5 houses should be allowed. I think that's when it really, really becomes effective.
Yeah, well, that would have been nice, but I know Jim Majewski said they couldn't do that, that some legality thing that developers would sue, and I don't know. So yeah, that's it. It's going to stay pretty much the same as it is now. At least that's what Jim Majewski said. So we'll see. Hi, Kevin.
Are you on the train, Kevin?
Yes, I am.
Are you? Wow.
Oh,
Nice.
good for you.
Amtrak?
New Jersey Transit.
New Jersey. Oh, come on. You're... Move up. All right. We're up to number 5, land use plans. Not a whole lot new there. The 1566 subdivision that's at Creamery Road and Yardley Newtown Road intersection near the Torbert Farm, that was extended to September 30th. They went up for approval at the last Board of Supervisor meeting, but Dan Grenier raised the issue of the dam safety because there's a pond on the property. I don't know if you've been there, but there's a fairly large pond and it has a dam. And with all this flooding, Dan's worried that the dam may break if there's a lot of water coming into it. So he wanted to verify that Pennsylvania DEP has looked at it and it's approved it. So I can see I have a typo here. I have dam, D-A-M-N safety. So it should be D-A-M, dam safety, not dam safety. Nothing new on the Tolbert Farm. They're still negotiating, trying to get some open space out of it. And the review's been extended to October 1st. The point at Edgewood Village, the Planning Commission is going to talk about that next Monday. And the new item is Grey Nuns Academy. Did you know that it was sold recently, 94 acres? And nobody knows what the new owner wants to do with it. But
yeah, that's a little surprising. Well, maybe not. I thought it was 89 acres and they received
Oh, 89,
12.5 million for it.
12.5 million.
Yeah, but the Torbert farm, I think what they're talking about now is 25 million, or was it 20?
I don't know, whatever. It's a lot. Torber Farm's more developable. It's
Well, yeah, that
perfect.
was my contention because
Yeah.
my children went to Gray Nuns, and it's a beautiful piece of property, and it's kind of rolling hills, I think, and there's some tree cover, but I still think they could. A developer is going to be able to put a lot of houses up there.
Yeah. Who had it before? Some healthcare company.
Well, I'm not sure. I thought. You mean the healthcare company bought it from the nuns, you're saying?
Well, the nuns,
I thought the nuns were the healthcare company.
yeah, what was her name? Yeah, it was
Well, it's Grey Nuns of the Sacred Heart, but then they always had a healthcare facility
yeah,
on the campus, but maybe they extended it. I'm not sure.
but the healthcare people sold it, and nobody knows who bought it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They
Well,
gave
isn't
an
that public
address.
record though?
What?
Isn't that in the public record?
Yeah, it's an address, a house address that's nearby, but nobody knows who it is and whatever.
Huh.
I guess we'll find out soon enough.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a mystery. So
Yeah,
that's
it's a shame because that's a gorgeous piece of property. It would have made
It
some
is.
beautiful open space.
yeah, it's the last really large piece of property that can be developed. So we'll keep a watch on that. All right, number 6, EAC letter with suggestions on reducing township flooding. We all know about the flooding at, what is it, Maple Vale, that neighborhood between near the canal and the I-295 Taylorsville Road intersection. Everybody heard about that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So,
And not only that, that horrific incident where 7 people died recently in, I guess it's lower or upper Makefield. I guess it was in upper
Upper.
Makefield.
Mhm.
yeah, upper near Washington Crossing.
Yeah.
Do you know if are people looking at the GI, the green infrastructure tools from the EPA?
I have no idea. I don't know what the township's looking at. They had a meeting 2 nights ago, 1 night ago, and it's on the township's Facebook page where it wasn't the supervisors, it was just township personnel talking to the residents about what they're going to be doing and what they've already done. And if you listen to that, you could probably find out if they're considering that.
Okay.
I know they're very interested now in stormwater management.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, at the meeting their last meeting, was it August 2nd? A whole bunch of residents were there, and they gave the supervisors a piece of their mind, and they talked about it a lot. And basin naturalization is going to be happening. But I should say, Dave Kratzner mentioned that it has to be more than just letting the grass grow. He didn't think that did that much. So just so you know that, Jim. He thinks you got to plant some stuff and that kind of thing.
Yeah, the EPA has very comprehensive tool sets, multiple tool sets in terms of the cost, in terms of projecting rainfall. It's all available, free to use for anyone. So you can project rainfall, you can project flow rates, you can project storm surge, and they have cost estimates as well. So you can, project the financial cost of green infrastructure.
Yeah. So that's something the township would do?
Sure. I mean, anyone who wants to do it, the tool sets are there. It's free for anyone. They're pretty easy to use. There's FEMA tool sets as well. You should be able to map out storm surge and say what is the likely increase if we have an event that's abnormal. What's the storm rate, and then plug that into a EPA calculator and see what type of green infrastructure you need to manage.
Yeah, that's kind of a long range thing. I think these people want stuff done now.
Yeah, well, I disagree with Dave's analysis regarding the basin naturalization about just letting them grow. Before, we came up with that idea, I checked the background, and I find there's a lot of literature from people like Penn State University and others, and they have like maybe 3 or 4 different scenarios. But the one easiest scenario is basically just to let them grow and cut them once or twice a year. And we did that for almost 10 years, worked like a charm, and we saved a lot of money. Now, the last time we talked to Dan Grenier about that, he said, well, we're actually studying that right now, and we're going to be, coming up with some plan for all the basins. Well, that's all well and good, but while we're doing that, why don't we reinstate this program that worked so effectively? And we still don't know why the program was terminated. But I think especially now with what's going on with flooding, and historically, when you look all over the United States about, the rainfall that we've been witnessing, this is very, very much in the public eye right now. As a matter of fact, a couple of women got in touch with me recently, and they wanted some information on basin naturalization. Unbeknownst to them, we actually had this plan in effect for several years, and they asked me for some input, which I gave them. And right now, they're in the process of, I think, sending out some kind of a petition, to the township to reinstate this program. So I think, this is certainly, from what Matt was saying, it's only one step, but I think it'd be a major step, because in Lower Makefield Township, we have 153 basins and open space areas, roughly about 120 basins and the rest in open space. And since a meadow configuration absorbs at least twice as much water as grass, I think it's really an easy first step. And I think that kind of first step would make people, I think, in Lower Makefield Township understand that we're taking this very seriously, and it would be a nice first step again. So we'll see what happens. And again, there's still a mystery associated to this whole thing, because nobody really knows who terminated this program. So,
yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think also the town or the EAC should publish the EPA data, because these are things that everyone can do. Anyone can hire a design design architect or a garden or something to basically come in and work their property to put in rain gardens or bioswales or basins. There are, like you said, there's existing natural basins that could contain water, but if the flooding is occurring in areas where those basins aren't present, putting in naturalized meadows in those basins isn't going to solve problems where basins aren't present. What happened in Upper Makefield wasn't near a basin that could absorb that water. So I think it should be a multifaceted approach. It should be the basins, but it also should be, what can residents do who don't have a natural basin near their home, and they could easily reach out to developers or try to do it themselves to just work on rain gardens or some type of flooding prevention in their home. It's really not that difficult to install rain gardens or to rent equipment to try and dig rain gardens or bioswales or anything. So I don't think it's necessarily long term. I think it could be a very short term approach to say, can we rent equipment? Can we dig out existing channels? Can we make them deeper? If we know storm surge is projected to go up 2 to 3 or 4 feet, all you need to do is dig a little bit deeper, put gravel down. That's pretty much what has been the most successful in terms of stormwater management. Is just basically adding a few more layers of gravel to any type of retention basin or anything. And you can grow on top of that. You can try and put soil on top of that and grow on top of that. But to reduce storm surge, the only thing you can do is to really increase the drainage capacity, and that's basically digging deeper and putting down layers of gravel. It's not rocket science. It's a matter of finance. It's a matter of cost, but it's not rocket science, and anyone can do it with the technology that we've had for the last 20 or 30 years.
Yeah, I tend to agree, Matt. And what we're looking at here is not a silver bullet. We're looking at silver BBs, I think.
Yeah.
And it's a multi-task approach. I think naturalization is certainly one component, but there's a lot of other things that we could be doing as well. But the thing is, this is easy to do. You can do this tomorrow. All it takes is a set of instructions to your maintenance crew. So that's one of the reasons that I tend to be pushing this.
Yeah, just to add to that, from my research, meadows are good at increasing the stormwater retention, but trees are actually better. So if you could plant trees in retention basins at the base of it, I've seen a few of these examples in Camden and other cities where they have meadows, but in the meadows they also have trees, and the trees are actually better at evapotranspiration, and they absorb more water, so they're able to lead to water absorption at a higher rate than just the natural meadows.
Yeah, I agree completely. And but when you're going back 10 or 15 years, the rationale was that you did not plant trees in basins because with the fall leaf fall, the leaves tended to clog up the basins. Well, they've gone 100% around that now. And now I believe in Lower Makefield that all new developments have to have vegetated basins. And the rationale now is to plant trees in them. So, what I'm also thinking of now with our massive tree planting that's going to plantings that's going to occur in the future, maybe we should relegate some of those plantings into the basins themselves.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And if you could also send out the EPA contacts to anyone who's, make it public to the general public. And this goes back to the idea of we're going to bring up the newsletter. If we could connect the EPA resources to the newsletter, just letting people know, hey, there's information out there. Like the government has been thinking about this, and they have a lot of comprehensive research and tools that anyone can use. Private companies can use them. Governments can use them. Local governments, residential home owners can use them. Anyone can basically use those tools and say, how do we calculate for projected rainfall, and what's the absorption capacity of green infrastructure? It's pretty. The tools are out there.
All right.
Hey, Alan, do you also, as part of this, do you want to discuss the possibility of a tax in Lower Makefield Township that's only delegated towards stormwater management? I know you and I discussed that, but I think Dan, our liaison, was looking for some input from the EAC regarding that. Is that correct?
Right. He asked us if we were interested in proposing something like that. It's a municipal stormwater fee. You never call it a tax. It's always a fee. They want you to call it.
Or utility, yeah.
Yeah. So just bring us back to the letter. If we do send a letter, we could have a recommendation that that website you were talking about, Matt, be
Sure.
on the township website, that they have links to it, that it be put on the website, the township website. That could be one part of our letter. Another part could be the naturalization of the basins. I have a few things that I think could strengthen our stormwater management ordinances. And then this stormwater or this municipal stormwater fee would be a fourth component of the letter. And you sound like
with
you're the
that
expert on this,
municipal
Matt.
fee, I've actually given that some thought too. And I think you did some research, Alan, and you said there's about 14 or 15 municipalities in Pennsylvania that have fees like this. And I think the average yearly cost range from something like $60 to $130. My feeling on that is there's several steps, I think. Number one, if you're going to introduce a municipal fee, you have to extricate from the standard fund any monies that are associated to stormwater management and adjust the fund accordingly. And those dollars should flow in to the municipal fee fund. In addition, my feeling is that the fund or the fees could be basically a two-step approach. The first one is to have a flat fee of, let's say, $5 a month per household. And then the second one could be incremental based upon the specific acreage of each homeowner, because that's readily available. So what this does, it establishes that stormwater management is important to everybody. So you have that flat fee, and then people with more property should be paying maybe a little more. But I would also cap the fee at some dollar amount per month, like let's say maybe $15 or whatever that would be. So somebody with like maybe 100 acres is not going to be paying some kind of exorbitant amount of money.
Well, I just looked through what Dan had sent us, some of the links. And Matt, you looked at this at work, so maybe you should be the lead on this.
Yeah, sure. So basically, I can give you a little information now, or I can wait until after the meeting to send it to you.
What?
So from my research, when I was researching this, I found utilities basically did what Jim was saying, but in terms of acreage of the property, they looked at impervious surface on the acreage.
Right.
So what's the amount of impervious surface on the acreage, and then there's a calculation. I have to do some digging, but I should still have all of the formulas that I can send to you. But there's a lot of different models for how to calculate it. But a general principle that I found was that residents can reduce their bill by putting controls on their property. So if they have impervious surface and a large acreage, but they build a rain garden or a bioswale toward the areas of their property where the water drains, then they get a tax or a fee write-off or fee waiver, a certain amount based on the capacity of the green infrastructure to absorb the runoff from their property.
Yeah, I actually thought of that too, and that I think has a great deal of merit. The only problem is then things start changing, okay? And let's say a couple of hundred people start doing that. To be able to monitor that on the part of the township might be a little difficult. But I think if you're going to take the lead on this, Matt, in a letter, maybe just to pinpoint out a couple of, without making a specific recommendation, point out a couple of these scenarios.
Okay.
And
scenarios in terms of cities or just
Well,
from,
scenario is what we just talked about a fee with maybe a base and then maybe an incremental, an increment based upon acreage or impervious surface or anything like that. Just to
Okay.
get, our board thinking
Yeah.
about this
I'll-
thing, I think.
I did this back in 2019, and that was for a different office that I don't. So I don't know if it's still in. It should still be in my computer because once it's in OneDrive, it should be in my computer. I just have to do some looking for that to find that research. But there's a lot of different scenarios that I came across, and they all have their merits and their shortfalls. What I think is interesting about the green infrastructure approach is that incentivizes homeowners to start controlling the runoff from their property. So if you had 100 people that applied for a fee waiver based on green infrastructure, and only 80% of them actually applied the green infrastructure, it would still be a significant improvement to the I like to think about it like a sponge concept, like the sponge concept of a town. How much water can the town retain from rainfall? And the 20 or 10% that get the credit but don't fully install the green infrastructure, eventually they could be noticed or found by the town, or they slip by, but still the net benefit to the town is pretty great in terms of the voluntary application of green infrastructure on residential properties.
Yeah, I tend to agree. If it's not a burdensome task from an administrative viewpoint, the impervious surface approach would probably work best because, it's the old dog in the bone type thing. People do a better job, their taxes go down a little, or their municipal fees go down a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matt, look at the Tredefferen Township PowerPoint presentation Dan Grenier sent in his email.
Okay.
That'll help you. It points out some of the issues and some of the decisions that have to be made, like how you calculate the fee.
Okay.
And theirs, undeveloped land has no fee. They don't charge anything for that.
Okay. Yeah, that was the same that I found through my research.
Yeah. So yeah, you could, kind of highlight the issues, the decisions that have to be made, and maybe we could even make a recommendation on which way we think the township should go on certain things.
Sure. It's going to be difficult for me to do that and the recycling guide. Can someone take up the recycling guide, and then I will focus on the stormwater utility?
Yeah, I'm thinking the township wants to move fairly quickly on this. So would it be possible, Matt, let's say, to have some kind of a draft in a couple of weeks, and that the EAC, who's here now, Kevin, Alan, myself, Sumya, could take a look at it and come up with some possible changes, and then have some kind of document that we could officially send out next meeting.
Yeah, it all depends on if I can, like how. Yeah, I can try. I can get back to you next week or the week after and see if I found my old research. If I find that, and I think I know. Yeah, if I find that, I can put together a document in a few hours. So.
And remember, you're just going to be one section of the letter, the biggest part, probably. And then I'll do a section on our stormwater ordinances, how that could be improved. And if you wanted to do something on basin naturalization, Jim, you could do that.
Yeah.
And we also mentioned open
I think
space.
that's a good approach.
Yeah. I mean, I could put in a couple sentences about open space because that's the best way to control stormwater, because you get a lot less runoff from undeveloped land than developed. But it'd be something like that. But yeah, your section would be the main section, Matt.
Yeah, I have some other ideas too in terms of
Okay, yeah. Yeah, and that thing about the link to the green infrastructure, the EPA thing, that should be another section of the letter. So,
yeah.
okay. All right. And yeah, we'll deal with the recycling guide. Don't worry about that for now.
Oh,
That's
okay.
off the
Yeah.
table in August. I mean, if we need it by October, late October, there's still plenty of time.
Yeah, and I'm collecting some batteries and styrofoam for the next recycling event, so I have that in my garage. So
That's it's good to know. Get all that styrofoam. Okay, number 7, new newsletter format. Matt, you thought you found
oh yeah.
some software.
Yeah, I just found like something online to create like a newsletter. I sent the email to you and Jim. I can send it to the rest of the group. And yeah, it's a good template. Once you have an email established, if we could do an email for the EAC in Gmail, you can send out automated you can do automated templates, and then you can adjust it slightly for every month based on different background image or different information for the newsletter.
Well, if we had a newsletter in early September, we could have something about the stormwater info that you were talking about, Matt, that we're going to have in our letter also. And then the recycling event on October 28th. Anything else coming up? Jean, you must have something in mind. Come on.
Yes, yeah, the Audubon,
Oh, the bird thing, yeah.
Yeah, the Birdtown, Pennsylvania had separated from National Audubon Society and are now trying to reactivate the Birdtown, Pennsylvania. And what they're doing is working with trying to work with the local municipalities on all kinds of, all kinds of ways of of conserving, and particularly around, of course, birds. But I got, I now have a phone number of Connie Fairchild, who was very active in originally years ago when you all first started Birdtown, and I will be calling her probably tomorrow and see if she's interested in getting involved, and she probably isn't, or we would have heard from her, but at least she can give me some information on how to start to get people involved, because at the moment nobody's doing anything for Birdtown, I don't think. And and Steve Sappier, who is very active in the Birdtown, Pennsylvania, has just reached out to see if we can get moving on it a little bit. So I'm gonna see what I can find out.
But you had that write-up that we could just put in the newsletter asking people if they're interested.
Yes.
To contact you, and maybe an informal group could form and handle Birdtown stuff.
Yeah, so that should who's gonna do that? Matt, are you gonna do the newsletter? Will you be doing the newsletter?
I can do the first newsletter if I can do the first newsletter and set it up. It would be helpful to me if we had different people do every like each month. That way, there could be different voices on the newsletter, and it would be easy to manage.
Well, maybe Paul could just do it all the time. You do it the first time and then show him how to do it, and then he could just handle it after that, because that's kind of been his thing. Do you have the mailing list? You have one of them, right?
I have a partial one.
The LMT one, yeah. So you'll have to get the other one out from him.
So, so, should I contact Paul? Or are you
Me-
saying, or,
Well, no, send that Birdtown stuff to Matt.
okay,
It's going to go in the first one. I'll send you a flyer for the recycling event. You can just paste that right in. And then put in your stormwater stuff. But this really doesn't have to go out till early September, so there's plenty of time. And
can we, Alan, do you think we can just send a newsletter just about the Bird Town? So we can, well, I guess.
you want to get it going?
Yeah, well, the other one, I guess it'll be going out in September, right?
Well, I thought that's when Matt's would go out.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's already August, so maybe I could just do some on the ground
Yeah,
calling people and that kind
between-
of thing, and then we can send the newsletter out in September.
Early September, and that gives Matt some time to do this other stuff first, and then get back to that. And I'll send Paul an email and let him know what's going on, so he knows you're putting this newsletter together. And the software, anybody can get it. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to send it to us, or
Yeah, it works with email. So once I think once I set up the email account, I should be able to give you a password, and then anyone can log into it.
okay. So yeah, Paul could do it, or any of us could do it too. All right, that sounds good. All right, so yeah, Gene will send you the Birdtown stuff. I'll send you the recycling stuff, and then later at the end of the month, maybe start putting it together. Okay, that brings us to the webpage update. Sumya, where'd you go?
Oh,
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 She's just a name. We need a.
yeah,
I saw a
Thanks.
hand.
all right, well,
There she
There you
is.
are. Hey.
Yeah, hi. I thought I was not on mute. I didn't realize I was talking, but
Oh,
yeah, you asked me to take a look at the website. I haven't
Yeah.
yet done that. Yeah.
and did you get some of the stuff? Gene went through it, and I went through Gene's stuff. Did I forward you that email? It was from Kate.
I don't recollect specifically. If you could send it to me again, that would be great.
Okay, yeah, it's some ideas on how to update it.
Okay.
Probably more. I'm sure there's more things that need to be done by now, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and actually I'll put something about the Bird Town on it too.
On our webpage. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, and you know, Katie's the one that handles web pages.
Okay.
mhm,
Yeah, she's very helpful.
right. So should Sylvia said should I send you the write-up for the Bird Town?
Whatever. I mean, whether you want to give it directly to Katie, that's also okay.
Yeah, I'll send you the flyer for the recycling guide too. That should go on the webpage.
Okay. For the recycling event, you mean, not the guide.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, the
Yeah,
event.
yeah.
Right. Yeah, okay. All right. Number 9, odds and ends. We already talked about the Birdtown program, how Gene's trying to get a informal group together again since it's been reactivated. And if you go to that website, their website, what is it called? PA Birdtown? They have a lot of ideas for
Bird
municipalities.
Town, PA.
Yeah. A lot of good ideas there.
Yes.
All right,
Yeah.
Matt, anything new on Macclesfield?
Nothing.
What has happened to that? That's kind of just slow to a grinding stop.
I don't know.
Yeah, because I haven't heard anything. And you go to the Park and Rec webpage, there's really nothing new since maybe April about meetings and stuff. So it has been quiet.
Who was in charge of that?
Monica.
Oh, huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's nothing new on Snipes either. What's going on? All right, Kevin. Patterson Farm.
I am muted. Sorry.
Oh.
We have our committee meeting after this one tonight, and we're expecting to be reviewing the preliminary report from the Siler jury. After that, they're going to be scheduling at tonight's meeting. They're going to be scheduling the second public forum to get more input from the public, and then they hope to wrap up the report, I believe, for the October or September or October meeting.
Right.
So it's moving on schedule.
All right. So is the next public forum going to be in September, you think? Or...
It's going to be the next meeting.
Okay, I missed that, but
Oh, it's probably going to be either very end of August or early September.
okay. All right, and while you're on, Kevin, was there any interest in anybody going to the Community Day event? It's August 26th.
Yeah, I can do it. Yeah, I have no problem manning a table. I don't think there's any charge for us to do it. We just need to get a table.
Oh, no. Yeah, there won't be. They're just organizing. And you have to have something there. I mean, you could have a sign-up sheet for our newsletter, get emails, and the recycling guide would be nice. I mean, you want to have something on the table, though. You don't want...
There's all sorts of EDC folders and information in the lobby of the administration building, but I think Paul was taking care of that. And behind the counter now, they moved our supply cabinet, and there's a couple of boxes that has all kinds of pertinent literature in dealing with anything from stormwater management, to the benefits of native vegetation, on and on and on. So there's plenty of that literature available, Kevin.
Yeah,
Okay.
Do you know where?
Yeah, I'll check in the township office if it's something that's already printed and would otherwise go to waste.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't want to hand anything out.
Right. Yeah. So they'll show you where it is. It's just right behind the counter when you walk in the main offices. Through those doors, like if you're going to talk to Jim Majewski or Katie, there's those glass barriers up in the counter, and you just go around, and it's right behind there.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah. All right, and last thing, do we want to invite the supervisor candidates to an EAC meeting? Or is that?
I think it's an excellent idea, as long as we limit them. Politicians love to talk, but I think if we could limit them to like maybe 5 minutes each, and then maybe have some Q&A, the whole thing would take maybe 20 or 25 minutes. I personally think it's a good idea, but I don't know what other people on the council think.
Well, I was thinking more like 15 minutes, but
yeah, for the whole thing, you mean?
Yeah, and just one meeting, maybe in September, have the Republicans, and then October the Democrats, or vice versa. The Democrats, Dan Grenier's running again, so we wouldn't have to talk to him, but Matt Ross is running with Dan on the ticket. So there'd just be one guy for that. And then
I like your idea, Alan, of limiting it to 15 minutes and then have them each at a different meeting.
Yeah. And maybe at the end of the meeting too. have them phone in like at 5:45 or 6:45.
Right.
Yeah. But we'll see. I don't know if they want to do it. I don't know the two Republicans running. I got their name.
What are their names?
Allen spelled Allen, not like I spell it.
Uh-huh.
Du Bois, it's DE, then capital PUY.
Ah, huh.
And then the other guy is Gary Pogler, Poggeler. So
Never heard of either one of them.
yeah, so we'll see. That's not a definite, but we may try to do that. It'll be on the agenda in September if we are going to do it. All right, open discussion.
The only thing that I wanted to mention is Sumya, I think, are you on Sumya?
Yes.
Oh, okay. You were going to take a look at the requirements for Tree City USA. If you had a opportunity to do
That's
that.
true. That's true. Yeah, I was away in India for a.
I'm sorry, we're losing you.
She was away in India, she said.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Okay. All right. What would I didn't hear your comment, Sumya.
Oh, I was away in India for about 5 weeks, so I just got back. So I will take a look. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Was it really hot?
No, I mean, with the place where I was, it was quite pleasant.
Oh, yeah. Hearing about hot weather over there.
A lot of rains all over, actually.
Yeah, monsoon.
Yeah, monsoon.
All right. Anything else? About 7:00. All right, so I guess the letter is the big effort, and should we just send out our individual parts as we finish them? How do you want to, or should we assemble them all in one spot and then send it out to the group?
I think it should be, all assembled and then send it out, to the group. I know Mac is going to, for instance, say something in his report about basin naturalization, and then I will probably edit and add something to that. But your section, Alan, might be actually a little separate. So.
All right, well, send your parts to me and I'll put it in a letter. I'll have the cover, saying what the letter's about, and I'll put in my sections, and then I can just add your section, Matt, and the naturalized basin section.
All right, so Matt's going to do something. You're going to write up something about the naturalization, and then send it to me and Alan, and I'll add something to it.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll look. I'll look through my I'll do some research. Yeah.
All right, because your knowledge of basins is probably more technical, than mine, because I didn't put out, when we did this initially, any significant statistics, about other than the fact that, let's say, a meadow configuration absorbs twice as much water. My initial aim was to get this done. That's why I stress savings to the township, because they're always interested in something like that. But we never really, for instance, calculated, well, what's the real environmental impact of, let's say, because we had about 110 in the program of these 150. So we never really measured that because, quite frankly, I didn't know how to do that. But maybe in the future, with your technical background, maybe we can at least take a guess based upon acreage about how something like this would be beneficial in a statistical format.
Sure. I don't have a technical background in terms of engineering or hydrology. My background is mostly just in research. So I did the research in the different stormwater utilities, learning what over a few hundred different utilities did in terms of fee structures. And then I did some research more recently in terms of how to incorporate trees into green infrastructure, and I can provide that research to you. It wasn't my own research, it was research from different educational universities, and that research stated that the absorption rate of waters in retention basins or in green infrastructure is greatly increased with the addition of trees to said green infrastructure.
Yeah, and we'll certainly have to mention in this letter the fact that with our master tree plan, the one that's just finishing up and the one that's going to be done in the future will have a very significant impact, I think, on stormwater management because of the absorption rate of trees.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will send that research over to you.
All right, thanks.
Okay, anything else? Last chance. Going, gone. All right. Do we really need a motion to end the meeting?
Historically, we've always done that, so I don't know whether we need it or not, but I'll make the motion to end the meeting.
All right, I'll second it. All in favor of ending our meeting, our August meeting, and seeing each other again in September? Would I? All right, see everybody later.
Bye.